In this lesson today, we're going to be looking at the chords we're going to be using to play in Junior Level 1, and you're going to find these on page 8, and page 8 covers exercises 7, 8, 9 and 10. Okay, so we've been through this in our lesson, so this is more of a reminder for you and how to practice it. So we're going to start with number 8, which is a pretty simple chord. It's E minor, okay, and it's 3 open strings, okay, which is strings 3, 2, 1, okay. And when you say practice, what I'd like you to do with this chord, same as all the others, but with this one particular, when we put our pick, you put the pick on the top of number 3 string, and you let the pick drop away. So it's almost as if you're playing all the 3 strings at one time. Okay? And that's our E minor chord. Okay? And what you're looking for is a really smooth downward motion with the pick goes across the 3 strings, starting at number 3, crosses over 3, 2 and 1. If I slow it right down, and you're looking to get a nice smooth sound if you can. Okay. And also the other important side of this is realize this is a chord that's used, and this is called the E minor chord. E minor chord. So as well as practicing the sound and the action of moving the pick across the strings, we need to remember that this is the E minor chord. E minor chord. So that is your E minor chord. Moving on, let's take a look at exercise number 8. Okay, so exercise 8 is the C chord, and this takes our fingers now, and we're going to be putting our fingers on the frets of the strings to actually make a note. So we're going to take number 1 finger, okay, and place it here on string 2, but fret number 1, string 2, fret number 1, okay. And if we push down and pick, that's the sound we want to hear. Now you might get a sort of a dunky, sort of buzzy sound, and that's okay. It just means we're not really pushing down hard enough yet. Okay, so a little bit extra push would help. The thumb, let me show you where my thumb is. So my thumb is just at the back of the guitar. It's not in the air. Okay, so the thumb is at the back, which allows me then, if I can show this to you, how that. So you can see that my thumb and finger are working like that to squeeze against the guitar. Okay, so the thumb goes round the back, finger number 1 onto the 1st fret 2nd string, and the first thing we want to do is take our finger, position it there, okay, and take the finger away, and then we're going to put it back. And again, what we want to do is remember the position of that finger, number 1 finger, number 1 fret, number 2 string, and this is the C chord. So in the same way with E minor, we're remembering the name, we want to remember that this is the C chord. Okay, now if you're okay with that, and we're okay with the shape and where that finger goes for the C chord, let's work out how we're going to play that. Okay, so again, same with the E minor chord, we're going to strum the top 3 strings, strings 3, 2, 1. So you would take your pick, put it on top of string number 3, and let the pick drop away. Okay. Now, one of the secrets to the C chord is having, as you can see here, is this finger here is having a curly finger, so that my finger curls all the way round, okay, and makes there's a nice space here, okay, so my finger curls all the way around and pushes down that number 2 string there. So this is a curly finger for the C chord, as I would call it. Okay, so a curly finger for the C chord, and then we can practice strumming it and maybe pick the notes individually, see if we get anything like that happening. We can push down a little bit more. If we pick number 1 string and we get that kind of sound, it means we haven't curled our finger enough around. So try make your finger extra curly. Okay, so it curls right over that number 1 string, allows us to push down, and that's our C chord. Exercise number 9 is a chord with a letter and a number. This is the G7 chord, and the G7 chord is very similar to the C chord. We take our number 1 finger again, but we position it now on number 1 fret on number 1 string, which is here. Okay, and we push down again. My thumb is at the back. Let me show you that again. My thumb is at the back, allowing me to push down and pull my finger against the guitar. And the first thing I want to try and do is pick number 1 string and get a sound like that, okay? if we get a buzzy note or a dunky note, as I call it, that's okay. It just means we've got to push down a little harder, okay? And G7, and then we will practice strumming the top 3 strings. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Same as a C chord, we can practice taking our finger away and putting it back in the same position. So we get used to the position of our finger, finding the G7 chord, and also memorizing that this is the G7 chord. And then we practice strumming it some more, and that's your 3rd chord we've learned. So the last chord on this page is exercise number 10, and we're going to be learning the G chord. So by now you can start to get a hang of where the fingers go, how to look at the diagrams. So you can see on number 10, the G chord is played with a number 3 finger, okay, number 3 finger of your fretting hand, number 1 string, okay, on number 3 fret, okay. And again, the thumb is at the back, pushing against the guitar. My thumb is here, pushing against the guitar. And I'm going to push down, and I'm trying to get a nice clean sound. And if I get a buzzy or a dunky note, that's okay. We just push down a little harder. Okay, then we would release, take the finger away, put it back. Okay, remember this is the G chord we're learning, G shape. Okay, once we're okay with that finger finding its way home to the G chord every time, okay, G, G, we can then start to strum the G chord like that. Okay, so that becomes your G chord, and that is exercise number 10.